Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome along to the Musicmakers live stream. Can you please let us know in the chat that you can see and hear us? Hopefully today I haven't messed anything up here. I've got my phantom power on. The mic is on. Everything seems to be working.
Yeah,
Hey, Frank, you got me, Adam? Adam can hear me, so hopefully the rest of the world can. Frank's here from Kansas. Bruce is here. Hey, Bruce, good to see you, mate. Jack's here from Scotland. Craig's here. Drew is here. Oh, this is cool. Great. Okay, Sherry, thank you for letting us know. You can see and hear us. Yeah, all good that you pressed the button. Yeah. That's the problem, Bruce. I never press the button. I always forget. Um, awesome, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. It's lovely to see you all coming in, and such a joy that we get to spend this time together to talk about music, talk about guitars, songwriting, albums, gear, music. This stuff is good for the soul, and we all need that in our lives. I am delighted to be joined today, as ever, by my co host, my brother from another mother, my partner in crime, the dynamic duo, the terrible twosome. I'm trying to think of other things. I think I'm out. I'm out. It's Adam!
it's me. Oh my God. And all of those things beforehand, all just in a basket together. Hi, everybody. Hope you guys are doing well today. Mike, that was the most killer introduction I've ever received. Thank you
I'm
so much.
working on it, mate. I'm getting better at this stuff. It happens slowly, but it does happen. I am getting better at this stuff.
You're going to be like a radio show host in like 2 years. Watch,
Oh,
it's
totally.
gonna
Yeah.
happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi,
I'm just
everybody.
going to
My
put
name
loads of compression on my mic, speak real low. Hey, we need Bruce. Bruce could do that. Bruce could totally be a radio host with his
Yeah,
voice.
yeah, you definitely could. Hi, everybody. My name is Adam Tobias. I'm an instructor here with the National Guitar Academy, as well as a composer, guitarist, and music producer. And we're here every single week on Thursday to help you all out on your musical journey. So we're glad that you've all joined us today. We've got a packed session, a bit of a recap of a beautiful year of music that we've had. And we're happy that you're all here to join us. So if you got questions, put them in the chat. Mike?
Yes, everybody, today's going to be a fun session because we have what we thought we could do today is like a review of the year. So this is going to be the last Music Makers of 2023. What we thought we could do was kind of look back on the year that was, talk about, I guess specifically we're going to discuss sort of, excuse me, things that have made a difference for me and Adam this year musically in different parts of the guitar world. So guitars, effects, from a chord point of view, lead, theory, albums, tools, all that kind of stuff. But what I'm hoping is that throughout that discussion, that will be really, really useful for everybody else who's on the call to sort of like, chime in with your comments in the chat. So it's going to kind of be, so I don't want it to be too like, it's not too personal for me and Adam. It's more just about us discussing these things and then answering your questions on them as we go. And they'll kind of be jumping off points for a broader discussion. So it's going to be a packed show today, really, really packed. There's loads of stuff that we want to cover. Without further ado, Adam, I think we should dive in. Before we do, everybody, if you have any questions, please post them in the chat. We will try our best to answer as many questions as we can today. Anything you want help with on the guitar, music in general, please put it in the chat and we will try our best to respond to that as we go through. Also, if you scan the QR code in the bottom corner over there, you can become an NJ member. If you become an NJ member, you get a free. Well, it's not free. You have to pay to become a member. It's not free, but if you do become a member, you get a personalized guitar learning plan, which will show you exactly what you need to do to reach the next level of your particular guitar journey. You get access to our amazing forum filled with I think the world's best guitar learning community. You get access to a massive suite of world-class guitar courses. You get access to our weekly members live stream, which we do over Zoom. And you also get access to our song library, which has got hundreds of chord sheets and tabs, song sheets for hundreds of popular songs. And they're all differentiated by ability level. So you can quickly find stuff that is suitable for your level. If you want to become an NJ member, it is $20 a month. It is an amazing deal. It's great value. And you can sign up by clicking scanning that QR code or just going to nationalguitaracademy.com/membership. All right, we need to dive in. Right, before we dive into any specific things, like Adam, when you look back on 2023 for you specifically as a musician, like how do you think things have changed for you throughout the year, mate? So if we think about, we're all developing, aren't we, all the time? We're always in motion as musicians. we're growing in some areas, we're shrinking in others, we're pushing into new directions, we're forming new habits, we're leaving some behind. When you look back at the year that's been, how have things changed for you, like as an overall level, for you as a musician? I know that's a big, broad question, mate, but just give us the highlights of that.
Yeah, it's definitely a loaded question, but there definitely are a few things that I could like itemize for sure. This year for me has been a huge year of growth as a musician. It's been a lot of time for studying and just kind of analyzing my weaker facets of my musicality and really trying to kind of optimize all of that. I spent a lot of time this year. For those of you who don't know, outside of teaching with the National Guitar Academy, I'm a music producer and I'm a composer as well as a session guitar player. And I work entirely from my remote studio here, just outside of Toronto. And so I've had the opportunity to grow alongside a lot of different musicians this year. I did a lot of folk music this year. I did a lot of trailer music this year, which are kind of like
Cool, man.
completely
Yeah.
on the opposite side.
Yeah. Very cool.
But it was a really cool point for me to kind of get in the middle of my own playing a little bit and say like, okay, well, like how do I optimize everything that I'm working with right now and make it sound better? So yeah, a lot of introspection. This was definitely the year of two things for me. Number one, the neck pickup. I just everything's for the most part. I'm a bridge pickup guy, like really, really hard for the most part. I love the twang, I
Yeah.
love the brittle aggression. But this year,
Yes.
everything was just calling for neck pickup in the middle position on like all of my guitars. So neck pickup
Interesting.
for sure. And
Yeah.
it was the year of the baritone as well for me, which I'm sure we'll get into a little bit later. But
Yes, mate. Yeah. I do want to talk about that later on for sure.
I
Hey, listen,
made baritones like basically all year. How about you, Mike? Sorry.
yeah, so no, yeah, this year it's been an interesting one for me. But listen, everybody, while I'm answering this question, please put your information in the chat. Let us know, like, how's this year gone for you? When you look back on the year that's been, as we're approaching the end of the year, how have things changed for you this year? Like as a musician, what new areas have you pushed into? What do you want to get better at next year? Where do you feel you're heading as a musician, and how have you changed in the past year? So for me, I think the main thing, if I think about this past year, I've tried to get much more back into songwriting. So, just speaking personally, I've got this massive backlog of songs that I want to get recorded properly. I want to get them finished. Lots of them are unfinished. They're in, I might have a verse and but not a chorus. I might have a chorus and not a verse. So they're almost like a scrapbook of songs rather than like finished songs. And I wanted to kind of finish them off. For lots of them, I will have like a verse, a bridge, a chorus, or whatever. But I would only have the lyrics for one verse. So basically, this massive backlog of songs in various states of, unfinishedness. And yeah, so this year I've been really sort of focusing on going back to that and finishing that off, and it's been really, really fun. I didn't get anywhere near as much of it done as I hoped, but next year I'm gonna keep focusing on that. I'm going in the right direction with it. I am making progress, but it's hard, mate, because there's just such a huge backlog of songs.
I
You
feel
know,
that.
yeah, and I spent like I don't know, like I spent several hot like days literally just going through and listening to them and trying to sort of prioritize them and be like, well, that one's absolutely crap. I should never look at that one again.
Yeah. No,
And like
100%. You
yeah,
can't
and like
be too analytical, man, because that's the problem. Is
yeah.
that like, you might think it's one thing, but the listeners might think it's something else.
Yeah, totally. It's
Yeah.
so hard to keep that distance. That's the only good thing I think about writing a song and then leaving it for like 6 months or a year. Is that at least when you hear it back, you have kind of
It's fresh.
there's some distance between you and the material. It's like, I remember writing this particular song and I thought it was great. And when I hear it now, it's like it just doesn't land.
Can I pause you there for 1 second for a
Yeah.
really big tidbit that everyone should take away from this conversation? I know there are a lot of songwriters here that attend these, and you just said something like get some distance between yourself and your music. And I think that that's so important. I spent most of this year working on other people's music
Yeah.
and not working on my own. And it was great because every time I came back, I was coming back with fresh, unbiased, non-critical ideas. And I think that
Yeah.
when we get too close to our own music and we don't have that distance between it, we get overly analytical. We start comparing ourselves to other people, and then the music suffers. Don't let your music suffer. Get some distance between yourself and your art so that you don't end up being as judgmental as you could be, because at the end of the day, most of what you already have is probably great. Mike, that was a great tidbit. I just wanted to cap
Yeah,
that.
no, not at all. I think it's a great tip for, I like to write fiction as well. And one of the best tips I think I've ever got for like for writing fiction is to like write the draft and then just leave it. You know, so like when you think you finish something, just leave it, put it in the drawer, walk away, you know, and just leave it for like a week, several weeks, you know, and you come back to it, you immediately spot the things that need to be changed that you
100%.
just could not see when you were in the act of creation because you couldn't see the wood for the trees, you know.
That's it.
All right, Bruce says, with the pentatonic tutorial, it worked into the use of arpeggios, so to cross all strings from low to high in many keys. Bruce, that I mean, dude, that's a major, major breakthrough. So I think, you know, if that's something, if that's a bridge that you crossed in 2023, mate, that's awesome. Well done. Very, very cool. Glenn says the highlight of, I think, Adam's year was he got a haircut.
Which you can't see right now, unfortunately, because got my beanie.
Yeah, Adam got a serious trim. He got attacked by a lawnmower,
Yeah,
and
I
it's like,
told everybody I just fell into a pair of scissors intentionally.
yeah. Glenn says two memberships gone. NGA the only one for me for now. Great, Glenn. That's good to hear. Thank you, mate. I appreciate that very much.
You.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so let's keep going. Right, Adam, what was your when you look back on the year? What was your like gadget or like gizmo or accessory of the year? So I'm not talking about like yeah, I'm not talking about like pedals or anything technology based or specifically any guitars, but just like you know, like those like accessories, stocking fillers. Give people some Christmas stocking filler ideas.
I got two for you right now. One second. You can't see it on screen, but I have a nice little like two little diamond shells over here that I store all my gadgets on. These are my
Oh, cool.
slides. Again, like I said earlier, I did so much folk music this year for like commercial and like TV and film.
Yeah.
Um, and these two have been absolutely instrumental in getting that work done. The type of aesthetic that you can add to a recording with a slide is fantastic. I have
Yeah.
one in silver and I have one in brass. They have slightly different textures. They look the same. They look like they'd sound the same. They don't. The brass is so much better for acoustics, and I guess steel is or silver is better for electrics. So yeah, these are my slides, and this is what I've been using basically all year.
Yeah, good one, mate. I'd like to get into slide guitar more next year. It does sound so cool.
Oh,
It's
it's
like it's so different to the tone that you get from fingers. You know, like it's really unique. Earlier on this year, I was listening to the Allman Brothers for the first time in a few years, and just like, oh my god, like some of the sounds. Dwayne Allman, man, what a
I know.
guitarist.
Have you listened to Derek Trucks?
Yeah, I love Derek Trucks.
Already Free is arguably one of, and I'll get crucified on the internet for this. I don't care. Already Free is one of the best blues albums of all time. And then what he went on to do with Susan Tedeschi with the Tedeschi Trucks band is
That's right.
that's God's word, man. Like they're so incredible.
Yeah,
Honestly,
he is. I think he is one of my favorite guitarists. Like that's alive. You know,
he's
you think about
incredible.
the pantheon of guitarists. I think Derek Trucks has to be up there.
The only person to make a Gibson SG sound that good ever.
Yeah, that's true. That's true because, like generally, I'm not a big fan of that guitar.
No, me
But
either.
yeah, but he does make it sound great. You're absolutely right. Yeah, cool. Okay, so just catching up here on the chat.
So much input today. I love it.
Yeah, great. So Frank says, with help from kind people like yourselves, I've learned more about playing guitar every week. Some perspective as of 2024. I will have been 50 years since I purchased my Martin D28, which I play. Awesome, Frank.
It's amazing.
Yes, mate, that's
Congratulations.
fantastic. It's great that you've made progress in that way. Very cool.
You should throw yourself a party for that, man. That's
Yeah,
love.
absolutely.
When I hit 50 years, I'm throwing myself a party. I don't care who shows up. I'm
Yeah,
popping champagne.
it is worthy of celebration, isn't it? It absolutely is. 50 years of having music in your life and the guitar. That's epic.
It's dedication, man. Good for you.
Dave said, "Hi Mike, holding guitar right hand suffers from feeling numb after a while. Is this usual for a beginner, acoustic or wrong?" It certainly isn't what we want, Dave. If there's any type of numbness or pain or anything, then that's always a signal that something's wrong. You know, like playing the guitar should never be painful. Sometimes it'll be uncomfortable, especially as a beginner. But no, you should not feel numb. I guess the only thing I would just suggest there, Dave, is to just check how you're addressing the instrument. So, like, you know, what are you sat on? How is the guitar digging into you? You know, do you need to bring your arm over the neck? You know, if you're resting your arm on the ridge line of the guitar, sometimes that will give you pins and needles in your right hand. You might need to just bring your arm over the guitar more. Yeah, and maybe sort of come round a little bit, rotate the top half of your body to get over there. Hopefully that helps. But yeah, Dave, we don't want, yeah, numbness is not something that we want. We need feel. We want as much feel as we can get.
The only one should be comfortably numb if you're playing Pink Floyd songs. Dave, I'm not a doctor by any extent, but you know, age, I don't know how old you are, but age can also play a factor in this when it comes to blood flow. So something that I would recommend is to get into stretching. And I'm not sure if you are an NGA member or not. If you're not, come join us. But if you are, there's actually a live stream we did quite a while ago on stretching, where we just kind of went through a whole pseudo yoga routine, and a lot of people were reporting a lot of really good blood flow after that, ease of playing the guitar. Stretching is definitely something that I would recommend here.
Yes, Adam is the guitar yoga teacher, as we've already established.
So
There are
says
some
the internet.
there are some epic guitar stretches inside the NGA members forum in the live streams that we've done there. Adam, help Frank out with this. So Frank says he bought a glass slide to begin playing some bit of slide stuff, but with the low action using a slide is really difficult. Impossible? Question mark.
Not impossible, but you're gonna have a bad time. Typically, when I'm doing slide stuff, I use my ES335, or this is a PV version of the 335,
Yeah.
but the action is just slightly higher, and it enables me to just kind of move around a little bit more. The thing is that playing slide is very much a balancing act. I'll just turn my volume on here and give a quick demo, Mike, if you don't mind.
No,
Um,
go for it, mate. Go for it.
so, like, obviously, I'm dealing with medium action here, which is not the same as low action. If you are brave enough, you can rotate your truss rod just a little bit. Make sure to use quarter turns or less always. Never anything more than that. But essentially, when you're playing slide, you kind of want to be able to kind of balance along the strings so that you're not pressing down. You're basically just trying to get the slide to glide or slide across the strings. So I'm going to try and like demonstrate like this here. Yeah, see how all of a sudden if I'm pressing down too hard, we start to get that buzzing, right? So another
Yeah.
thing that you can do because you have low action is learn to play slide with 3 fingers. This is a Derek Trucks trick. It's very handy. A lot of guys do this, but and girls. But if you rest these 2 fingers behind the slide, you're actually going to mute the other strings behind it and reduce not only the vibration itself, but the sympathetic vibration from the other strings.
Yeah. That's
Right?
Adam. That's way cleaner than when I play. Like when I play with the slide, it's messy as hell. Is that because you're deadening the strings behind? Is that what that is?
Well, yeah, if I don't do that, we get this.
Yeah.
Right, which sounds cool on record for some stuff. I won't lie, I've done that before, just because if you want that old kind of, I call it
Yeah.
doomy Western sound, you
Yeah.
need that.
Yeah.
But if you're just practicing, yeah, 2 fingers on the back, use your ring finger for the slide, and you really just have to play a balancing act with the action. Alternatively, just a little bit of a quarter turn will get it done for you, and that would be
Yeah.
leave a quarter turn to the treble strings, so that way.
Yeah. I think it depends what end the truss rod is at.
Yeah,
Like on the old school tellies, like the truss rod's here, which is like the worst possible place in the whole world for a truss rod because you have to disconnect the neck to
yeah.
change the truss. Who came up with that design, for God's sake?
Fender.
Oh, it's so annoying.
I'm just kidding. I don't know if it was Fender.
It probably was. It will have been. Yeah, it's his fault. It's his fault.
Yeah.
Leo. I like Drew's tip where Drew said, "Frank, buy a cheap guitar and set it up just for slide." I think
Yes.
it's a great tip. Just have a separate guitar that you just use for slide. Especially like it doesn't have to play great with your fingers. Like if it's just going to be your slide guitar. Drew said that he used an Epiphone Les Paul and had the action set up higher with heavier strings, perfect for slide. Great idea.
I
I
have
think
my
that's
Nashville set up like that too, just because like slide
yeah,
sounds great with the higher strings too.
yeah, that's a great idea. I'm already thinking of what's that guitar I got the Starcaster, which like
Mhm.
it's like it just it's not a very good guitar basically.
It's the
Um,
offset Fender that you have, right?
yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's got two humbuckers in it, but it's just not a very nice guitar to play. But I'm thinking I might set that up for slide just so like it's getting used for something.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I might try that. Everybody, thank you for the comments here in the chat. There's lots of cool comments here. Sherry says, I practice scales to stretch my fingers before I play. Yeah, that's a great idea, Sherry. As I said, Adam covered this extensively in a members live stream like 2 months ago, Adam, something like that. But it was
Ish.
filled with like stretches that you could do for your arms and your upper body when you're playing. It was really popular. Please go and check that out. Craig said, guys, followed on from advice using a metronome. So on the NGA members live stream this week, we were speaking about how to stay in time once you start playing, how to begin playing in time, how to remain in time as you're playing. We were speaking about metronomes amongst many other things. So that's what Craig's referring to here. Followed on your advice using a metronome, but what I thought sounded decent when playing, following the metronome, has put me all out of sync. Yeah, guess it will improve as I keep practicing. Well, I am yes, Craig, it will. But I imagine what's happening there is using the metronome has possibly helped you correct some bad habits that were there in your playing beforehand, and you may have this sort of messy adjustment period where you're kind of, getting on track with I guess, a more musically correct sense of timing, possibly.
It made you honest.
Yeah, yeah, and do you know what, Craig? Welcome to, the realization that your timing isn't as perfect as you thought. Because as I mentioned on the members live stream this week, the amount of times I played something, I thought I was in time, but then you put some type of drum track to it or click track to it, and it's way out after a minute, you're out. You may be fine for 30 seconds to a minute or so, but it will drift out. If you're playing and you really want to remain exactly in time, so for example, if you're recording something, are you going to be recording tracks asynchronously and you want them to match? You have to have some type of drum beat, otherwise you will drift out. So don't feel bad. Don't feel bad about that, Craig. It's just part of how music works.
Craig, slow your metronome down about like 20 BPM from wherever you're sitting at and just sit with that. I know it's going to sound boring and it's going to be super slow and you're going to be like, oh my God, I hate Adam. Why does he give me all this stupid advice? But it also works. So, okay, fine. But give it a week or so and you'll notice that you'll have tightened up very much with that. Anytime I'm kind of wonky on something that I'm trying to learn, I try to slow it down 20 BPM and it gets honest pretty fast. Don't get frustrated with yourself. Just keep practicing.
Yeah, yeah, and don't feel bad about it, Craig. Like nobody plays perfect. No human being plays perfectly in time for long enough. Everybody drifts out a little bit over time. All right, so my gear slash accessory gadget thingy of the year was I've got two. Number one is that contact cleaner, Deoxit, I think it's called. I shared it on a live stream recently, which has just been great for like just tidying up buzzing, ground hums, dodgy connections. I've used it on my guitar jacks. I've used it on some effects pedals. I've just used it in loads of places. Like I'm literally looking out for things that buzz or hum now. So I'm like, I'll go and get my Deoxit and that'll fix it. I had no idea that the contact cleaner could work so well until I saw a video with a luthier who was just saying, look, this is like an essential tool that everybody who has a guitar should have. It kind of just improves everything. It improves all electrical connections. And guess what? If you're playing an electrical guitar, into electrical guitar effects pedals and doors and whatnot, then the quality of the electrical connections really matters. And Deoxit is super cool, very very cool.
I have to pick some of that up. That sounds like a good idea. Look at
Yeah,
a
mate.
Strat that just hums for days.
Yeah. Well, what was happening was it was actually on the Starcaster that I mentioned before. When I was switching, sorry, to the bridge pickup, it was just cutting out completely. I was just losing all signal when I went to. So in the past I would have taken that in to see a guitar tech, and I would have had a repair bill. But actually, it just needed some contact cleaner to degrease the connections. And also the second thing from me, which I mentioned on a live stream about 6 months ago, was those fret erasers. Those things that look like little rubbers that you use to, and they gently file down the frets of the guitar. That's really improved the playability of all of my guitars. So now whenever I restring my guitars, maybe not every time, every second or third time I restring them, I'll also use the fret erasers to just take off that surface layer of the frets, which makes all of my bends nice and smooth. Like how it is, Adam, how some of your frets, the strings can catch.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's like I hate that feeling, that gritty, grimy feeling where you can feel the string rubbing on like rough frets. So yeah, fret raisers, they make your frets like butter. Very cool.
Yeah, you don't have to tape your fretboard off either with that, do you?
No, because you're not touching the wood. You know, I mean, obviously you have to be careful when you do it. Like if you were haphazard and rough with it, then obviously it would scratch the wood. But as long as you just kind of hold it in place, it's okay. And like it's not like sandpaper, you know. It's so like if you do catch the neck of the guitar, it's not gonna like strip the finish off the guitar or anything like that, you know.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about guitars of the year. Adam, we need to talk about baritone guitars, dude. I
Oh,
don't have one. I really want one.
okay. Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna make you go first on this one, so I can go set up and tune up, and then I can
Okay, yeah, go
show it
on.
off. But Mike, why don't you tell us about your guitar of the year this year first? I have
Yeah,
a feeling I
so
know what it is though.
well, I think yeah, I think you think it's this one,
Nope.
which is the no, okay. No, my guitar of the year, I think this year, it's a guitar that I don't think I've used on many videos, which is actually my 335, or more specifically, it's a 345, a Gibson 345. That is a guitar that I got last year, but I only really learned how to properly use it this year. The Gibson 335, for anybody who isn't, aware of this, it's one of the like iconic, Hall of Fame of guitars. We've spoken about this before. Like to me, the absolute, Hall of Fame guitars is like a Stratocaster, a Telecaster, a Les Paul, and a 335. They to me are the four guitars that like, you know, I don't know if you're even a semi-serious guitar player. I think you have to have one of each of them. Personally, I think that's the minimum amount of guitars a person should have if they enjoy guitars. But the 335 was a big change for me because it's got two humbuckers in it and it's got the extra like tone controls down at this end, and also it's semi hollow and it's kind of big. It's like a big piece of furniture. If you're used to playing Telecasters, or Strats, or even the PRS that I've been using here in the studio this year, going to the 335 is quite a big change. There's a lot going on. But I feel like, I wouldn't say I've mastered it, but this year I've really got to grips with it. And like, dude, that 335, that is such a great guitar. It's so good. Like, it's so well made. Like, the neck is great. It's just everything about it is just like on point. The only thing that really annoys me about the guitar is that the bloody G string just keeps going out of tune. I like that's literally the only. I cannot fault this guitar. It is amazing how good it is.
Gibson dilemma, man.
Yeah. It's dude, it's such a great guitar. Like I know you know this, Adam, because I know you have one. But it's like, yeah, man, the 335's like I'm really annoyed it took me this long to get one because it
Yeah.
just sounds so great. The clean tones that I can get from that guitar with just like literally nothing except maybe just a bit of light reverb, like
Mhm.
nothing else, just some light reverb. I just love the way that guitar sounds, man. It's so good. It's like, to me, it's almost like, I know it's not the same tone, but it's the closest I've ever felt playing an electric guitar that I was playing an acoustic.
Yeah. No, I totally get
I
that.
love those clean tones. So for me, my guitar of the year is the Gibson 335.
I think that everybody should own a semi hollow body at some point along their journey,
Yeah.
just so that they can feel the distinction between that and a regular instrument. I grew up playing like a very beat up off brand offset guitar that kind of looked like a Fender Jaguar a little bit, but not really. But my first real, like, actual guitar that was mine, because the one that I learned on was a hand me down from my uncle, um, was that PV, the JF1 EXP, which is basically a mock up of or a copy of an ES335. And like,
Yeah.
it was funny because then moving from that to a solid body guitar afterwards as my main for a while, was really interesting, because it gives you a completely different palette, and it's something that I've wanted to keep coming back to over and over again. Like as often as I get to reach for that guitar on a project, I do every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen you playing that one a lot. But that's not your guitar of the year, is it?
No, it's not. This is my guitar of the year. This is a locally made instrument by a wonderful man named Brett Bailey of
Let me spotlight you, Adam, so you can.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is my favorite guitar of the year, and this is my main guitar this year. This is a Contriver Signature 6 by Contriver Guitars, built by Brett Bailey in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. I actually came into contact with Brett a couple of years ago. I had actually posted an NGA article that I had written at the time to my music page, and he messaged me and he was like, "Hey, let's talk." And at the time, he was only building picks, and so I went up to his shop and we chatted and we hung out for the night and just talked about gear and instruments. And he sent me away with these acrylic taper picks that are 2 millimeters on the top, 1 millimeter taper on the bottom. And I have mained these picks ever since. This is actually probably my other accessory of the year. Is
Adam, can you hold it closer to the camera so we can get a real good look at it?
Yeah, sure. We can right in there. So you see again, thicker bottom, thinner top. I used to use a Jim Dunlop nylon 1 millimeter, like the cat tongue style, but these, surprisingly, the grip on them is absolutely fantastic. So I've been using these for probably 2-ish years now. If not,
that looks like a thick plaque. It looks like a doorstop. It's like a wedge.
Yeah, and it works, man. I mean, it's only 2 millimeters. It's not as big as it looks, but it's just given me this amazing articulation that I couldn't have had anywhere else. So shout out to my brother Brett Bailey at Contriver Guitars. I was also fortunate enough to be asked to endorse the company about midway through this year. So it's been a wonderful ride, kind of growing with that company as well. But besides
Adam,
that,
can we see the guitar like again?
Yeah, But yeah, so this is, I don't have the specs on it, unfortunately, but I do know that this is kind of I believe this is a roasted rosewood, maybe, roasted maple, I believe, but it's like a dark, like burnt maple, which is kind of cool. And these are just two stock pickups that basically are kind of designed to act like a set of DiMarzios, Liquefier, and Crunch Lab for any metalheads that are here. And I'll give you a quick demo of how it sounds on a clean channel.
Yeah, Adam, can you hold it closer to the guitar, to the camera, just so we can really like admire the...
Yeah, there we go. You can see there's a bit of dust on it because she's been getting some use, but this is actually one of their original models. So the company used to be called Bailey Instrumental. I'll kind of turn it that way so you can see the Bailey on the top there, but they've since rebranded to Contriver Guitars, and you can see just the flame on the headstock and on the fretboard is absolutely beautiful.
Dude,
Love the
it's so
reverse
good.
headstock. Yeah, me too. It's my favorite part about it. I always wanted a reverse headstock, and like I used to see all the Jackson guitars and be like, oh, one day. And then Brett blessed me with this, and it's been absolutely fantastic. And this is kind of what it sounds like, more or less, on the middle position.
Yeah, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
If you wanted to do some kind of like the thumpy type stuff that I've been doing recently, this is where it really shines, is on the low strings.
What's that tune? What's that tune to, Adam?
This is in drop C right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's, the low end of this is where it really shines, how it really cleans up. There's a lot of clarity, there's a lot of definition, and this is the only guitar that I own right now that does not have a hot rail in it. So it was super uncomfortable for me at first because I usually main hot rails in all of my guitars. But getting into this one was very, very interesting. And yeah, this is a baritone. This is, I believe, a 30-inch scale length. I had one baritone beforehand, which was an Ibanez AX100A, but that was 27 and a half. So this guy is actually about 2.5 inches longer. This is the other one that I've been maining with a lot this year. This one is in drop G sharp. So this is, for when I want to get really kind of doomy and heavy, but get the fuzz pedals out and whatnot. But yeah, this is a mahogany body.
What strings have you got on that, Adam? Like, if you're tuning down that low?
These, I believe, these are D'Adarios. These are D'Adarios EX. They are 13 gauge.
13s, damn.
Yeah. So they're towing cables, but if I put
Yeah.
it up close to the camera, you can definitely see it. They're huge.
Yes,
But
mate. Yeah.
the definition that you get and everything as well is fantastic. Earlier, no, I think it was 2 years ago, I popped a Seymour Duncan Jupiter rail in here, which was designed by Wes Hauk, of one of my favorite bands, Alluvial, and it's just been an absolute war machine ever since.
Yeah.
So,
Can we hear it, Adam? Do you want to tune it up and like? Is it in tune or like?
Yeah, it should be in tune, I believe.
Yeah, it'd be cool to hear it. Just while you're getting set there, Adam, I just want to throw this back open to everybody else on the
Sure.
call. Like, let us know, like, what's your guitar of the year, everybody? Have you got a particular guitar that you've played more this year? A guitar that you've discovered this year? Like, maybe it's a guitar you've already had that you've just started using more this year. Like, what's happening for you guys? You know, is the mainly when I'm at home, I'm mainly playing either just my plain old acoustic guitar, which I've had for like 20 odd years, or I'm playing my my 345. But yeah, let us know in the chat what you guys are playing. All right, Adam, you ready to? We want to hear the War Machine, dude. Oh, Adam, we've got you've dropped out. Your audio's gone.
Was that me? Sorry, no, I was just just kind of getting it together there.
Oh, no worries, mate. No worries.
Yeah. So, did you want me to give a demo now, or sorry? I know we
Yeah,
just took a question.
if that's cool, mate. Yeah, sorry, I thought you were trying to play. I didn't realize you'd muted while you were.
I just wanted to make sure the levels were good. Okay, so like guitars like this, you can't really show them off as well if you don't use distortion. So I just flipped over to a distortion channel.
Yeah, dude, give it to us. Come on. All right. Okay, Adam, that came through way too hot. It sounded like the world was ending. But I guess that's maybe the best possible demo. It's just like, "Rah!"
I guess so. I tried to keep that to like -6, but maybe if I turn it down a little bit more here, let's see if this is clear.
No,
that
it's
too
not
low?
coming. It's not coming through right, mate. I think it's maybe I don't know. It sounds like the audio interface isn't grabbing the right channel or something. Oh, there we go. Yeah. It's not coming through, mate. It's not coming
It's the
through right.
distortion. It's clipping it
Yeah,
off.
yeah. It sounds torturous. What I can hear, it sounds cool.
That's
But
the
like
idea.
yeah, but it's not coming through in a. It's not the signal's not clean. It's coming through in a. I don't know, like
That's
a weird
okay.
way, or we're only hearing. It's almost like the vocal mic's picking up what you can hear in the room. You know, like it's not. You know.
Well, there's your low clean demo there. Sorry for everybody's ears there. You never know with these things because like on my reader here it says I'm coming through like completely clear, and then on the other side it's like so apologies for your eardrums.
Yeah,
But,
yeah. Dude, that is low. Oh my god, that's
yeah, it's very
down there. Yeah, it's down there. Right, listen, we've got to spotlight everybody else's guitars. All right, Glenn said his is the Yamaha LL6. I don't know that one, Glenn, but I guess maybe that's the one that you showed on the members live stream the other week. Maybe. Doug said, was that the Rancher mini pick? So that acrylic pick, Adam, that was not a Rancher mini pick, was it? That was one of Brett's, wasn't it?
yeah, Doug. Actually, it is a Rancher.
Oh, cool.
I guess if you follow Contriver Guitars, you would know that. Yeah, that is the. This is not the Rancher Mini. This is the Rancher Original. The Ranchers actually were the ones that Brett designed right after this batch that he gave me.
Ah, sweet. Okay.
Doug, you must be Canadian. Where are you at?
Yeah. Yeah, you Canadians, man. Canada. Do you know what? Considering Canada's such a big place, you guys all seem to know one another.
Yeah, it's some of us for sure. Yeah, we know our own. Brett's done a really good job of putting himself on the map too. And
Yeah, good for him.
I also scream his name to like every Canadian person.
That's right. Yeah, maybe Doug's heard it before on one of the members' live streams. Glenn said
weird. Okay.
the Yamaha L6 is an acoustic that outshines the others that I have, including a Taylor. Yeah, Glenn, it's weird, isn't it? My favorite acoustic guitar is an Aria acoustic guitar that I play at home, which I literally just found in the loft of my ex-girlfriend's house. It's like there's nothing special about this guitar. It's literally just like, you know, a knockabout guitar that was made like 40 years ago.
Arias are great though, man.
Dude, it's so good.
Just well built, like the
Yeah.
honest, well built guitars.
Yeah, it's like it's better than, you know, sometimes I'll go to guitar shops and I'll sit and play like, you know, 3, 4, 5,000 pound acoustic guitars.
Right.
I would rather play my Aria at home than those guitars. That's a fact. Bruce said the Wolf tribute for its versatility and onboard preamp. Yeah, Bruce may have the world's like best guitar because it's everything, isn't it? Bruce's guitar has everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame. Do you know what? It's a shame we can't show it on here. But like on the members live stream, our members can speak on the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bruce's guitar is badass. It's a serious bit of work.
Bruce got a really cool guitar collection. He's got that Fender Bass 6 too. That's probably one of the only guitars that's actually on like a wish list for me. I really want a Bass 6 just because of
Yeah,
the versatility and like, you know, bass strings.
absolutely. Cherry said, I have an Alvarez acoustic guitar that I play. Alvarez, I'm not familiar with that brand. Is that, Adam, have you heard of them? Alvarez, is that a US brand or?
I've heard of Alvarez. I know that they make nylon string guitars, and I believe they make acoustics as well. I've heard the name. I've never tried one, but Cherry, if it's something that you love, then it's the best guitar for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I couldn't care less about brand names. Like if you find a great guitar and it plays well and it suits you and it feels part of you and you enjoy it, I couldn't care less what name is stamped on it. Like a great
Totally,
guitar is a great guitar.
that's it.
There's a lot of snobbery in the guitar world. Like just throw that out the window. I could not care less about that.
Yep.
Stephen said, got a Tanglewood acoustic, had it set up, and it makes so much difference in sound and my learning, etc. Barcodes. Yeah, so Stephen, for anybody who hasn't had their guitar set up by a guitar technician, we call it a setup. It basically just means you send the guitar to a guitar shop, and then the guitar tech. It's a relatively inexpensive thing. In the UK, it costs probably about £50, something like that. But basically, what the guitar tech will do is adjust the string action, which is the height of the strings, to make it much, much more playable, adjust the intonation, maybe clean up the frets and the fretboard a little bit, and basically just make the guitar sound better and make it much easier to play. I can't imagine like buying a guitar and not having it set up in some way. Like to me, it's just essential that you have that done. And I know enough about guitars now to be able to do sort of mini setups myself.
Yes.
But yeah, like anybody who doesn't know how to do a guitar setup, please just pay the money to have your guitar set up. It will come back like a different instrument, and you'll be like, wow, why didn't I do this before? It's essential, I think.
And depending upon where you go to get this stuff done, and this is a bit of a cheat about way to do it, but like depending upon how friendly your music tech is that you're going to, you can always ask them a whole bunch of questions, right? Um, I was very fortunate for many years to be getting my setups done by a guy named Brian Mascarin, who lived about 30 minutes from me when I was living in the city. And so he'd literally come to my condo, pick up my instruments, take them back to his shop, go to Toronto, fix them up, and then take them back to my place. And I used to just ask him questions all the time, like, oh my God, like, how did you get this, like, the fret level this way? Or like, I was having this intonation problem. Like, how did you fix that?
Yeah,
And a lot of the time we're willing to share things with
yeah,
you as well.
the,
And it's gotten me to a point where I've been able to do setups on, most of my guitars very easily. And I live
yeah,
out in the country, which means I'm not close to anyone. The guy who made this guitar is like 2 hours from me.
yeah,
So, getting back there and being like, hey, can you fix this is not really an option. So you just have to be
yeah.
independent about it. Once you get over adjusting the truss rod, everything else is easy.
Yeah, I think the only thing for me is that I just wish that all guitars had easier to adjust bridges. That's
Yeah.
the like if I could change one thing about guitars, it would be I wish that they all had just those really like modern simple bridges that just have an Allen key to adjust the height of them.
Yeah.
Like my Telecaster has got like one of those, like I don't know what you call it, but it's where like the bridge shares two strings, like so you can only adjust. It's super weird.
Yeah.
It's like a classic Telecaster bridge where like the strings 1 and 2 share one thing that you can move.
Yeah. There's only 3 saddles when they're supposed to. Yeah.
Saddles, that's it. Yeah, there's only 3 saddles.
That's a Fender thing.
Yeah, yeah. I much prefer the modern ones where you can just adjust them individually, like very easily with an Allen key. Like it's so much better that like that.
If anybody here is from Fender, man, we just want to talk. We just want to talk.
About so many things.
But we just want to talk.
Yeah. Glenn says Alvarez makes an awesome guitar. Great, Glenn. That's good to know. Yeah, I hadn't even heard of them.
Cool.
Wayne said I have a Fernandez electric that smokes Japanese.
Okay, let's talk for a second about Japanese guitars. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the Fujigen factory, okay, or FJN guitars. Go look this company up. Fujigen or Fujigen. It's probably Fujigen. But they are, I suppose, like they have factories that are used by a multitude of different guitar companies, including, I believe, Fender and Schecter. And they've just recently come out with FJN guitars. I believe it was like 2021, maybe that started happening. But these instruments are amazing and they're very, very fairly priced as well. So if you're looking for like high powered instruments, Definitely check out FJN, check out the Fujijin factory, and also check out Harley Benton, which is made by Tomen, who I believe are in
Yeah,
the
that's their
UK.
in-house brand, isn't it? I think.
They're just crushing it with affordable instruments. They just put out a $200 electric or acoustic dobro with a pickup in it. $200 US. It's unheard of. And because they're able to do everything in house, they don't have to outsource anything, so they keep their costs low. And the consumers are the ones that benefit. So if you're looking to get, I know a lot of you have talked about like get yourself into a cheap guitar so you can do some stuff with it. Look at Harley Benton, especially if you're in the US or in the UK. If you're in Canada, sorry, our dollar sucks. But I
Yeah,
mean,
well,
it's still cheaper than anything else.
even in the UK, mate, it's not easy to buy from Thomann since Brexit. Like you have to pay like custom fees when, so you know, it used to be it was simple. You could just order from them like anybody else. But then after Brexit,
Right.
I ordered an audio interface from them, and the FedEx delivery guy at the door requested that I pay him £60 for the custom fee. Like literally, the guy handed me the parcel at the door, said I had to pay him £60 for him to give me the parcel. I was like, what?
Jeez, man. Yeah, you're gonna have to educate me more on all of that.
Oh,
Unfortunately, my
mate.
geography and everything
Yeah,
on
but
that side of the pond is a little rough, but that's another
trust
conversation.
Adam, trust me, you do not want to be educated about Brexit. We're not going there on the live stream.
No, not on the live stream. I'm just saying, like, you should call me sometime and be like, "This is what happened."
Yeah, we don't want political ranting on here, and that's what will
No,
happen if
no,
if we discuss Brexit.
yeah, yeah.
No, but Japanese guitars in general. So the Telecaster that I have at home, that's was my stepdad's guitar, and now it's our guitar. Let's say I
Right.
borrowed it from him and never gave it him back. So it's kind of our guitar, but it's been this guitar's been all over the world with me playing over the years. But like not a day goes by that I'm not grateful for my stepdad's taste in choosing that guitar. It's a Japanese Tele, like 1985 ish.
Tokai?
It's so good.
Is
What's
it a
that, Adam?
Tokai? Like
Is it
Tokai,
a
the brand?
no?
T-
It's a Fender. It's a Fender Telecaster.
Cool, cool.
But it was when they were making the guitars in Japan. And I think I'm right in saying, like, Bruce will probably know the answer to this, but the Japanese made Fenders like are really quite sought after because they were just like there was just such a high production quality.
Yeah.
And then they moved away from Fender stopped making the guitars in Japan after a relatively short period. I think it was only like 5 to 10 years that the guitars were made there. But a lot of that know-how and engineering skill, it's there, dude, in Japan. Like they really know how to make guitars in
Oh
Japan.
yeah, it's amazing. I know
Yeah,
it'll make a lot of things in Japan. I got to go to Japan when I was like 13 years old, and like my brain melted. Guitar Hero was in Japan when I was 13. Guitar Hero did not arrive in North America until I was like 16, 17.
yeah.
He had Guitar Hero 3 when I was 19 in my dorm in university.
So
Uh,
much fun. I love
yeah,
Guitar Hero.
yeah. Bruce says now it's Mexican strats. Dude, do not underestimate a Mexican strat. Mexican strats are amazing.
Yeah, the where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I've got my other one over there, and this one actually. This is a Mexican-made Player Plus,
Oh, cool.
and
Mexican.
I think this is probably my favorite guitar to play. I'd say maybe in the last year or so. The 335 is the one that I go to when I want it to sound great. This is the guitar I play when I want to have fun. I just love how this guitar plays, and this is Mexican made. It's ace.
That's
It's
a cool
basically
distinction too. I love that.
yeah, it's like a This is like a Mexican Ultra. So you know how in Fender's new product range, like the Ultras are like the top model before you get to the custom shop gear.
Right.
And this is the Mexican version of that. So that it's not like the Player Plus basically is the Ultra, but
Right.
made in Mexico.
Very cool. I love
Yeah,
that.
it's super, super cool. All right, cool. So everybody, thank you for your comments there in the chat. Right, let's before we finish up, Adam, I'm not giving you any warning about this, mate. So I'm sorry, I'm going to lay it on you, but I'll give you some thinking time.
Hit me.
I wanted us to discuss our artist of the year. Now, for me, okay, artist of the year and an album of the year, and they may be the same. Okay, so but this is not like who we think is like objectively the best artist of the year or who made the best album. It's just an artist that we had the most fun with this year. or somebody we discovered, or maybe someone we already knew about but we got into more this year. I'm going to ask you for an artist and an album, Adam, but I'm going to give you some thinking time.
Sure.
My album of the year, which is so random, is the Gorillaz album, which is called Cracker Island. Now, I'm not that big a Gorillaz fan. Like, I like some of their songs, but I certainly didn't consider myself a Gorillaz fan before this year. But dude, this album's so good. It's like a poppy. It's basically a pop album, but it's mixing sort of so many different genres of music, dance music,
Yep.
synthy stuff, guitar stuff. Damon Albarn, the songwriter, of course, from Blur,
Yep.
super talented guy. It's just so much fun. I really and the even though I've listened to it so much this year, I wouldn't actually have chosen it, except Spotify sent me my hey, here's your roundup of 2023 the other day, and my most listened to album of the year was Cracker Island by Gorillaz, which is just wild to me. I would never have thought that.
That
But
song features Thundercat as well. The song
yeah,
Island, who is like an absolute maniac
beast.
of a musician. Baby Queen is one of my favorite songs to jam to on bass. Baby
Yeah.
Queen is just so good.
Yeah, anybody who doesn't know, Thundercat is like just an amazing bass guitarist, and he's so good.
Yeah, him, and if you want to check out like just two very eclectic, like out of this world bass players, listen to Thundercat and listen to Mono Neon. They're both just like very cool R&B, funky, fun jazz solo soul type stuff. It's super sick.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So Adam, what would be your album of the year?
This isn't an album that came out this year. Oh, actually, okay. I have one that has no guitar on it that I'm gonna drop, but then I'm gonna drop my other like guitar oriented album of the year. So my album for the year that doesn't have any bearing on guitar is Integrated Tech Solutions by Aesop Rock. I don't know if anybody's heard of this guy. He's an absolutely stellar rapper, very intelligent lyrics, very just kind of like highbrow subject matter, very cryptic.
Yeah,
I've always been a fan of Aesop. Yeah, just everything that he does. And it kind of got dropped on my head because it only just came out recently, and I had kind of fallen off following him for a while. But yeah, the whole album is absolutely fantastic. If you listen to the song Mindful Solutionism, it's amazing. My album of the year that did not come out this year, but was definitely my album of the year, and this is not per my Spotify Wrapped because my Spotify has a whole bunch of kids' music on it because I have a 1-year-old. But my album of the year was Here's What You Could Have Won by Kid Capici. This came out in 2022. Kid Capici are like my favorite band. Mike, I sent you a voice note about these guys beforehand. They just
that's
dropped.
right. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're from
they just dropped.
Hastings. They're from Hastings in East,
Yeah, that's
East
right.
Sussex. Yeah,
They're just raw, unfiltered, completely unbridled and out of control. Like it's so good. They've got a new album coming out next year called There Goes the Neighborhood. There are 3 songs out right now. Let's Get to Work, Tamagotchi, and 999. Mike, you're in the UK, know what 999 is.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like it's a breath of musical fresh
Yeah.
air.
Adam, how do they get those? Like, so for anybody who hasn't listened to Kid Capici, it's like punk rock, but kind of they've merged some sort of electronic elements into it.
Yeah.
And as Adam says, it's kind of very raw and like direct. How do they get some of those like there's some really deep tones that sound like detuned guitars,
Yeah.
maybe with loads of compression and noise gates, and it's hard to know if it's like a synth or if it's like a guitar. It's like really heavy, but like
Are you talking about the chorus on 999?
on most of their songs you can hear this kind of it's like there's a bass guitar, but the actual guitars are also kind of low but really like vibey and electronic sounding and like punchy.
Yeah.
And I'm just not sure how they got that tone.
There's a bunch of different ways you can do it. I like to double track with I'd like to double track with my the Ibanez baritone that I showed you earlier.
Yes,
I'll play like
baritones.
standard tuning stuff on that just because it's tuned lower, but play the same chords that I'm playing in like E flat standard, which is what most of like other guitars are tuned to.
Yeah,
And I'll just double track with that, and it just kind of adds that like lower mid
thickens
range.
it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like if you have your Strat is up here, for example, or your Strat would be up here and your frequency range 335 would be here. So like, but
Yeah.
then you get something like a baritone that sits further down here. So typically
Yeah.
I'll either track with the Strat or track with the 335. And that's kind of your baseline frequency for your guitar. The baritone can sit underneath that, and then you have your bass underneath that, and then you can quadruple that up if you wanted with synths, which is something else I do a lot of the time. And you can
Yeah.
like, fuzz out that bottom part a lot. This is actually something I picked up from them just by ear. I'll track like for heavier stuff, I'll have a very like clean and precise metal guitar sound or rock guitar sound, and then
Yeah.
I'll put a fuzz pedal on the baritone. So you just have that like rumbling
Yeah. Yeah.
nastiness.
Are they
I think
using,
that's what they're doing.
but why, but like what I'm not clear on, Adam, and I guess, you know, I don't know how they've got it so clean. Like, I don't know if they've used like an EQ pedal to like filter out all of the noise and crap, but I don't know, it just hits so cleanly, you know. And I'm
It's
just,
EQ. You got to
yeah,
shape it all, man. You just got to shape it all together. It's
yeah,
like when you're recording guitars, it's like a puzzle, right? Everything's got its own frequency range. And if you can band them all together, cut out the ranges in a way where like everything sits as one instrument, that's what you get. Yeah, you can hear
sounds
that.
great.
Yeah, you can hear that sound all over. That's what you could have won. And the 3 new songs as well. I'm glad that you picked that up because that's like one of my favorite parts about it is that fact that like the whole band just crashes through the front door. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, it is good. Well, no, as soon as you sent me the recommendation, I was on it. You know me, mate. I'm always looking for new music. Like somebody recommends something to me, I check it out every single time.
Sure.
I don't sleep on recommendations. I listen to everything that people suggest. Right,
Love it.
listen, we've got some other suggestions here. Gary said the Shipbuilders Spring Tide. Awesome, Gary. Thank you. I will check that out. Drew said hey Adam, been listening to the Tragically Hip group of late. Amazing sound.
Hip are amazing. Those are hometown heroes, man. Those lads speak for Canada.
Bruce said Guitar and the Space Age by Bill Frisell. Again, another one I don't know. Bruce, thank you, mate. I will check that out. Thanks very much. Prime
Great.
Cheetah says Queens of the Stone Age album.
That you know what that should probably be my second place. You're talking about In Times New Roman Tutor, like the new one, because like
The new one.
Josh Homme is so good.
Yeah, he's too good.
He's Ginger Elvis. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
he is good. He's very good. And then Glenn said AC/DC, Highway to Hell, Back in Black. They will always be my
Classic.
albums of the year.
Classic.
Yeah, yeah, they are two very cool albums. I remember the first time I listened to Back in Black, like I didn't know I didn't know it was AC/DC. It was just on somebody's house, that album. And it was there in the background. I was like, this is great. Who is this? And I didn't know, I was like 16 or something. And then I asked somebody, and they were like, it's AC/DC, like, what's wrong with you, moron, And I was like, wow, cool, because I'd heard AC/DC mentioned many times, but I never locked onto an album of theirs that I liked until I heard that one.
One of the first albums I ever got was given to me by my neighbor, and it was a bootleg, like just burned copy of Back in Black. And he was like, if you're picking up the guitar, you're gonna need this.
Yes.
Fall out my chair.
Yeah, he was the hero you needed, Adam, at that time of your life.
I just ran into him a couple weeks ago, actually. He's like, I hear you're doing music now. And I was like, yeah, and that's entirely your fault.
Yeah, great.
You're a lawyer, man.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, they're great on there. There was like little recommendations where people kind of nudge you in the right direction of like, people who are already in the know.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you need to check this out. You remember those moments, don't you? I totally remember those moments where there's somebody put me onto a certain band or a certain album. Like, it stays with you, I think.
100%.
Everybody, we are out of time. And that hour zoomed by.
It did.
I hope that you all enjoyed that chat as much as we did. I thought that was a nice way to round out the year, was really just looking back and thinking about, the things that, we enjoyed the most, things that made the most difference to us, things that moved us and affected us, the music we loved, the way we changed as musicians. I think it's good to take stock every now and again and look back. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. That's how the YouTube algorithm works. You got to get the likes, bro. And I am so rubbish at getting the likes. Sometimes I watch other live streams and they're like, all they talk about is likes. They're like, we won't reveal the answer to this until we've got 1,000 likes, all this stuff. I'm like,
we're holding all this free information for ransom until you
exactly
trigger the algorithm enough to make us relevant.
Yeah.
We're just here to make sure everybody gets the help they need.
Yeah, exactly. So please like the video, subscribe to the channel. We were hoping to get to 40,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I don't know if we're going to get there. It's really close. It's going to be pretty close. So please subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this. And thank you very much, everybody. Really good fun. This is the last one of the year. So please make sure that you have a lovely Christmas, you have a brilliant New Year. Hope you and your loved ones and your family have a lovely holiday season. We will be back in the new year. Adam, any closing words?
If you guys and gals are looking to set a New Year's resolution, go ahead and scan the QR code in the bottom corner and come join the NGA membership program. You're going to have access to all of our courses. You get access to a second private live stream that happens every Monday. We've got a forum that is growing all the time and a community that's growing all the time with amazing members. And you also get your guitar metrics analysis tool as well. That's going to give you an evaluation and show you exactly what you should be trying to move forward on in your playing. So if your resolution for 2024 is to learn guitar and learn it well, come join us. And if nothing else, head over to nationalguitaracademy.com and sign up for the mailing list. And if you want to hear more from us, Mike, are you on Spotify or no?
No, but I will be soon with
Will be.
the Mags album will be, I think, either January or February. The first Mags single will drop, and then I will officially be on Spotify. Yeah.
So go and sign up for the NGA mailing list, because we're definitely going to be shouting that out when that happens. And you can find me on Spotify at Adam Tobias. Look out for the little sigil. You'll know it when you see it. And you can find me on social media at Adam Tobias Music, Instagram and TikTok. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful Christmas, and we'll see you in 2024.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Take care.